Good evening, folks. Let's talk about the impeachment trial of our 45th president, Donald J. Trump. Oh my goodness. Hey, by the way, if you do like the videos that I've put out so far, please at least send me a like. I'd appreciate it. And if you like what I have to say, then give me a down. That's fine too. I'm happy with it. I just want to hear your opinion and what do you think? So let's get right into it. So, when it comes to the impeachment of Donald J. Trump, let's go back and find out how all this started. And by the way, everything that I tell you, please, please, please fact check me on it. Look it up for yourself, read the information for yourself, and see and find out if I'm giving you a huge load of crap. Because I don't just want to tell you what I know. I want you to look it up for yourself. I want you to have the facts. I want you to educate yourself. So, first off, so we all know that Donald Trump is going through an impeachment trial, and it is being ran by the House manager by Adam Schiff. Well, here is one fact. This is a fact. Look it up for yourself. The whole impeachment trial started with the quote unquote whistleblower. Quote unquote. The whistleblower. The whistleblower has not come forward and has not been a witness to the impeachment trial. Now, from what I understand in my world, at least from when it comes to the Constitution, is that if you are accused of a crime, i.e. Donald Trump is accused of crimes, then you have the right to face your accuser, right? So if you go to court and somebody said, you did this, then the person that is being accused of the crime has the right to face their accuser, i.e. the whistleblower. But even to this day, it's been 3 months now that nobody can say the whistleblower's name. Nobody can talk about him. It's all a big secret. Shh. We can't say his name. I know his name. I know his face. I know who he is. But the media cannot tell you. Why? Because the left says that you can't know his name. But yet it's already been exposed. We already know who the whistleblower is. But why can't Trump face his accuser of committing crimes? But it's not just because of that, but it's because of something else. Is the whistleblower, quote unquote, he's no longer relevant in the impeachment trial. Adam Schiff said last week, we don't need to talk to the whistleblower no more. He's no longer relevant because now we have Bolton. We have John Bolton. And he can answer the questions that the whistleblower already gave to us. And I even hate, oh my God, I hate saying the word whistleblower to this piece of crap. Because he's not. He's a deep state operative. We already know who he is. Well, at least I do. I know who he is. I know his full name. And he was actually a part of the executive office of the vice president. It's called EOVP. He worked for Joe Biden. Joe Biden. How does that ring a bell? Oh, yeah, Joe Biden. Oh, yeah, so he was involved and in charge of Ukrainian affairs. Of all Ukrainian affairs when it came to the United States. What else does that connect to? What else does that connect to? Oh, yeah, his son, Hunter Biden. His son, Hunter Biden, was put onto the board of Burisma, which was the largest oil and gas company in Ukraine to supply the Ukrainian people with gas and oil to heat their homes, provide their vehicles with fuel. But at the same time, Burisma was being investigated by Ukraine, by their prosecutor general, for fraud because they were stealing money from the Ukrainian people. And at that same time, Hunter Biden was on their board. But he wasn't on their board just like randomly. He was on their board after Joe Biden, the vice president of the United States, he went over there and he talked to the president at the time. His name was Poroshenko, and also the prosecutor general, and told those people, he told Poroshenko, if you do not fire the prosecutor general who was investigating Burisma, which his son was on the board, and he joined the board only 2 weeks after. 2 weeks after Joe Biden went over there to talk to the corrupt president, Poroshenko, to put his son on the board. Now, I may not be the smartest guy in the world, okay? But I am kind of intelligent. Would you think that's some type of corruption? I mean, I do. If you've got the vice president of the United States back in 2014 going to Ukraine to talk to the president of Ukraine and telling the president of Ukraine, get rid of the prosecutor that's investigating Burisma, which is the largest gas and oil company in the country, and put my son on the board. If you don't find some kind of an issue with that, you have got to be out of your mind. Now, I'm not saying that to you personally who's watching this video. But if you are thinking that, like, oh, I don't see no problem with that. Everything's okay. It's good. Everything looks like it's on the up and up. If you are one of those people that is watching this video and you down thumb this, you are completely out of your mind of logic. You have got to be crazy. But that's what happened. And if you didn't happen to notice, but just the other day, there was a picture of Hunter Biden, by the way, who has one illegitimate child, that he slept with a stripper, a hooker. She got pregnant. They had a baby together, and he was fighting so hard not to disclose his financial information. Why? Why are you so scared to disclose your financial information? Maybe because you were involved in a corrupt company in Ukraine, and you don't want to show how much money you actually made while you were there. Or also probably that you got a $1.5 billion deal with the Bank of China. Not even Goldman Sachs can get a $1.5 billion deal with China, the National Bank of China. But Hunter Biden, who had no experience with the company, no experience with investing, he was able to get it. And guess what? Ironically, he got that deal the same day that he flew into Beijing, the capital of China, with his dad, the vice president. So he got $1.5 billion he got to overlook $1.5 billion of Chinese money the same day that his dad landed. They both landed on the tarmac in Beijing together, showing him doing pictures, smiling, having a good time. No. Isn't that interesting? This guy doesn't even know Chinese. He has no investment experience, nothing. And just on top of this, too, just before that, not even 2 years before that, he was kicked out of the Navy. He was discharged out of the Navy. For what? Would you ask? Would you want to know why? Because he popped hot for cocaine. He's a coke addict. So how's the guy that was discharged out of the Navy, not honorably, he was get out of here. He was booted out of the Navy. And then he goes to Ukraine with his dad, Joe Biden. Gets a $1 million deal as part of an investment firm. And then goes with his dad again over to China to take over a $1.5 billion investment firm at the Chinese National Bank. That's not a private bank. That is the Bank of China, the Communist Party, CCP, Chinese Communist Party. He's overlooking $1.5 billion worth of money. How does that happen for a guy that just got kicked out of the Navy not even 2 years ago? Dishonorably. Because he was a drug addict. And now he's managing the largest oil and gas reserve company in Ukraine, which is the size of Texas, and getting $1.5 million in his pocket. $1.5 million in his pocket. That's money in his pocket. And then he overlooks $1.5 billion from the Chinese National Bank. And he only got that deal is when he landed in Beijing with his dad, Joe Biden. How does a coke addict get that kind of money? And then on top of that, you look at pictures here recently. How does a guy that's a coke addict, that's a junkie, basically, how does a guy like that make that kind of money and let's see here. Hold on. And then he's roaming around driving a $130,000 Porsche. How does somebody do something like that? Well, let's just let's see. Okay, so I just typed in here. Let me show it to you. Yeah, I'm sorry here. I don't want to hold you up on Hunter Biden Porsche's pictures. Oh, there it is. So this was a picture just 2 days ago. So Hunter Biden, who refused to pay child support, and he was forced to respond in court about why he was not responding to the judge's orders about child support. He owed child support. He's got 5 kids. 5 kids. One of his 5 children is by one of a stripper, a hooker. She got pregnant with his child. It was confirmed by DNA that he was in fact the father, but he refused to pay child support. This child is almost a year old now. And the court finally said, you have to pay your money. Why would Hunter Biden not want to pay child support? I can tell you why. Because he would have to go to the court and he would have to disclose his income, how much money he's making and how much money that he has in his account or accounts. Well, let me show you a picture of Hunter Biden yesterday, or I'm sorry, 2 days ago. It looks like he's really struggling to get by. Now, the court did not disclose how much money that he had in his account. The judge on that case recused himself from the case. Why would a judge recuse himself on a child support case? It's because that judge was scared to say anything about how much money Hunter Biden actually had in his account. That judge is a fucking coward. Excuse my language. But let's just take a look at how Hunter Biden is doing. I don't think he's hurting right now for money. So here's a picture of Hunter Biden with his very pregnant wife getting out of his Porsche Panamera GTS 5. You know how much one of those cars cost? $130,000. Not too bad for a guy that was snorting coke while he was in the Navy and smoking crack while he was in the Navy. Not too bad. Let's take a look at this guy. This is Hunter Biden with his wife. Oh, and she looks so happy with her leopard print pants, with her stomach bulging out. There's nothing wrong with being pregnant, but why you want to look like a slut when you are in your 3rd trimester? Really? Take a look at this guy in his $130,000 car. Just having a good old time. Now, here's the thing that I want to let you guys know that's even more disgusting than seeing Hunter Biden with this car. And look this up for yourselves. Please look it up for yourselves. So Hunter Biden was on the board of directors for Burisma, which was the most corrupt oil, gas, energy company in Ukraine. Do you know how much money that the United States has sent to Ukraine during the Obama administration? If you don't, I will be more than happy to tell you. $7 billion with a B. Bravo. $7 billion. And a majority of that money was also sent to Burisma. Do you know how much of that money was accounted for? The $7 billion? Not just the $1.2 billion that Joe said in his video, saying we're not going to give you the money. It was a total of $7 billion. Do you know how much of that money was accounted for? That could be tracked to find out that it was used for the legal and lawful purpose of what the aid was for. Do you know how much was tracked? Zero. $7 billion of our taxpayer money is unaccounted for. And at the same time that had happened, the last bit of the $1.2 billion, that's when Joe Biden went over to Ukraine to try to get things in order. Not the other 6.8 billion, I'm sorry, the 5.8 billion dollars that they were like, "Hey, what's going on here?" No. They never asked that question about the other 5.8 billion dollars that disappeared. It was only at the last 1.2 billion dollars they decided to start asking questions. So, Obama brought Biden over there and started a new council in the Ukraine to say you need to have an anti-corruption council. And that's what Lunchbox Joe was there for. And at the same time, he had his son, Hunter Biden, who was kicked out of the Navy and who was sleeping with his dead brother's wife, not even 1 year after his brother had died. Look it up for yourself, too. That's another fact. This guy is a real piece of work. This guy's a piece of trash. He's garbage. So, I digress. So Hunter Biden gets on the board. All this money has disappeared. $7 billion of yours and my money has disappeared. Hunter Biden is on the board. And the $1.2 billion that Joe Biden had said publicly, "I'm not going to give you the money unless you fire the prosecutor." It's really ironic that that money also disappeared. Gone, poof. There's no accountability for that money. Where was it spent? Who got the money? What was purchased for it? What was it used for? There's no answer for it. But I can tell you a little bit about what I know. Between $8 and $15 million of our taxpayer money for the aid went into Hunter Biden's pocket and also went into Joe Biden's pocket. You're like, "What? Mike, why would you say something like that?" How do you even know that? Because I know that the money that was sent over to Ukraine was funneled through 4 different countries: Lithuania, Estonia, Cyprus, and then to the United States into Hunter Biden's account. It went through. If you were doing a legitimate deal, why would you have to siphon the money through 4 different countries to get it put into your account? It's because you're trying to hide something. The money that was sent to Hunter Biden and also to his dad ultimately was taxpayer dollars. It was your money, it was my money, and they took that money that was supposed to be aid to Ukraine. They gave it to Burisma and to other corruptive individuals in the Ukraine, and then they siphoned some of that money down to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. They siphoned that money down to them. And then they took the money and then they transferred it to 4 different countries to eventually get to Hunter Biden's account. And also to Joe Biden. They stole our taxpayer dollars. These guys are thieves. If you don't believe me, look it up for yourself. I implore you to research it. We, the American people, were ripped off. And this picture here of you seeing Hunter Biden in that Porsche, I just want to let you know, the American people, you paid for it. You bought his car for him. You bought it. And his wife is all a part of it too. We bought that nice Porsche Panamera GTS for $130,000. The money that we gave to the Ukraine for assistance was siphoned, it was filtered out, it was spread around throughout the United Ukraine, or throughout the Ukraine. Joe Biden got a big chunk of it, and Hunter Biden got a big chunk of it. And the rest of it was divvied out to everybody else that was corrupt in that country. We paid for that Porsche. And this answers the other question. Where is Hunter Biden? He will not answer no questions. He's only done one interview. And what did he say in his interview? When Martha McCallum asked him, hey, do you think if your name was not Biden, that you would have been selected to be on the board of Burisma? And he said, I don't know. Probably not. That's what he said. Fact check me on it. He would have never been on the board of a huge major gas and oil company as being a fucking cokehead that got kicked out of the military. But here he is, enjoying that nice $130,000 Porsche Panamera with his wife. When you see a picture of that, I hope you would go, what the hell is going on here? Because when you see that Porsche, that's a picture of a man that has stolen money from us. And he's living on the high life, driving such a nice vehicle. And we paid for it. You paid for it. You paid for it because it was corrupt. And that's why the Democrats are trying so hard to shut down Trump and shut down this impeachment. Because Trump is exposing all of this. And not just this current picture of him in the Porsche. This has been going on for decades. We've been lied to and we've been ripped off. And the politicians, Republicans and Democrats, both sides have been banking off of our hard-earned money. This is something that you need to think about. It's something that you need to question for yourself. Every time you look at your paycheck, every week or every 2 weeks, and you see how much money's been taken out of your FICA and your federal taxes and going, God, oh, that's kind of steep. Well, guess what? It's people like that that are getting your money. But you know what? Don't take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. Check it out for yourself. And that's why I support the President of the United States. Because he's cracking down on this. And the more that he cracks down on this and the more he exposes it, if you notice, the harder that the Democrats fight this. And the Rhino Republicans fight this. Because he's exposing the swamp. He's exposing the corruption. He's exposing the people that are at the top. And they are stealing from the American people. Buying Porsche Panamera GTSs. How does a junkie that got kicked out of the military is able to buy a $130,000 car? That car is worth a lot more than a lot of houses in middle America. These are things that you need to be asking yourself. And going, what is wrong here? There's something wrong with the system here. This is not right. Why am I going to work and I'm busting my butt every day? But I got some guy that's a junkie, a crackhead, a coke addict that got kicked out of the military, out of the Navy, who got a free ride into college to become an officer, and not even 2 years later, kicked out. And now here he is, driving a Porsche Panamera GTS 5 for $130,000. And there's his wife sitting there wearing leopard print pants, looking all smug. Really? If nobody sees a problem with this, you are in La La Land. Start asking questions. Why is Trump doing what he's doing? He's doing what he's doing because nobody can buy him. He can't be bought. He can't be bribed. He works for free. He does what he does because he knows what needs to be done and it's supposed to be right. The people that are telling you that Trump is so horrible and so bad are the people that are driving around Porsches. The people that are truly corrupt. Think about it, Americans. Think about it. You really have to dig down inside. If you don't agree with me, you just need to look up the facts. Start researching it for yourself. If you don't, this republic is gone. We don't have a democracy. This country is not based on democracy. It's based on a federal republic. Look it up for yourself. It's based on states' rights. I just want to say thank you guys. For the 6 of you that actually watch my videos and listen to me. I really appreciate you guys. But I just want to let you know that if we do not support this president and the president that's going to come after him that supports our values as conservatives, we are in big, big, huge trouble. I'm not trying to be some kind of scare tactic guy. I'm telling you, we are in big, big trouble. I love this country. I've spent my entire adult life supporting this country. Yes, I'm showing you the flag of America behind me. I support this country. And I need you guys to please look at the information that I'm giving you. If you don't already know it, look it up for yourself. Fact check yourself. Because if we don't stand up what's going on here, this republic is gone. And all the things that we take for granted for our freedom of speech, our freedom to bear arms, our freedom for everything, your right to privacy, to not be illegally searched, it will be gone in a flash. Thomas Jefferson said that the only way that freedom thrives and that it lasts is one generation at a time. One generation. We are that generation. Think about it. Look up everything that I told you if you want to. And support this country. And support our values as conservatives. Thank you so much for listening to me. I'm out.